What's up, Cinephiles? Welcome back to the channel. Today's episode is a special one because we are predicting the 2021 winners for the Oscars. Now, I know we had a rough year, or years rather, but I'm still grateful because we have the most diverse set of nominations this year. So I can't wait for us to talk about it. But before I do that, I invite you guys, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, hit that subscribe button. We do weekly reviews of movies and TV shows, and on special occasions like this, Oscar predictions. I am joined by my friend Dennis Buckley from the Playback YouTube channel. Hello, welcome to the channel. Hello.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Let's begin. We're starting off with the technical categories. We have nominees for the best in costume design. We have Emma, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, Mulan, and Pinocchio. So Dennis, what is your will win and should win for this one?
I feel like Mac is my should win only because it's my bias. I personally am in love with that movie, and I know a lot of people don't love that movie as much as I did, but I feel like it's going to be Ma Rainey's Black Bottom only because it won the Guild Award for costume design, so that is the ultimate precursor. It definitely is the front runner for that category.
We actually have the reverse here. I have Mank as probably will win. Though I would want Ma Rainey's Black Bottom to win because they just look so natural in that era, you know, even though they only used few costume designs because it's set on the whole afternoon. They just look comfortable, especially the whole look of Viola Davis. So that's it. Okay, moving forward, we have nominees for Best Original Score. We have The Five Bloods, Mank, Minari, News of the World, and Soul.
Will win, it's gonna be Soul. For sure, 100%. It's already a lock to win. I mean, I won't be mad if Soul ends up winning, and it will end up winning, but I personally am also in love with the score of Minari. And I know a lot of people who are in love with that score as well. And if a film will pull an upset at the original score category, it's gonna be Minari. And I know a lot of people who listens to the score constantly on repeat on Spotify. So it resonates to a lot of people.
Yeah, Minari is my second choice too. But I love Soul because there's two levels of soundtrack in Soul. For the astral scenes, we have here something more of a synth. And then there's jazz music, and it's just so impressive how the musical score able to blend those different genres. So Soul is definitely my should win, and I'm also going for Soul for the will win category. Okay, next let's go to nominees for international feature film. Another Round from Denmark, Better Days from Hong Kong, Collective from Romania, The Man Who Sold His Skin from Tunisia, and Covidis Aida from Bosnia and Herzegovina. Dennis, I'm going to relay this round to you because I haven't seen any of this movie.
Well, this is actually an easy one. Will win, should win. It's gonna be Another Round. Especially since Thomas Vinterberg's surprise directing nod. It's a lock to win international feature. And I also really love the film. It's like a coming of age film in reverse. It basically portrays adult men in the middle age crisis acting like kids. So it's definitely a coming of age reverse film, and I really like that concept. And it's a very good movie. It's a very good character profile of those people who suffer in career crisis and middle age crisis. So definitely a should win and will win.
Wow, that's interesting because up to now I haven't seen the trailer for this one. I hope this one lands on the streaming. That's where I'm going for. Will win. Okay, next we have the nominees for Best Sound: Greyhound, Mank, News of the World, Soul, and Sound of Metal.
I have two personal picks in this category, but objectively speaking, will win. It's gonna be Sound of Metal. The sound design of that film is very impeccable. It has received a lot of love from the critics and guilds alike, as well as the audiences. But at the same time, I also love the sound design for Mank. But again, that's just a bias because I think the sound design in Mank really contributed in creating that entire world that they are in the 30s. So it plays a very vital character in the film, but I do think that Sound of Metal has this in the bag.
We have the same opinion here. Sound of Metal, my personal pick, just because after I watched this movie, I knew in my heart that it's going to make its way on the nomination list. And it's one of those films where sound is the main feature of the film. in taking you to that
Exactly.
emotional journey. And it really played an integral part of the movie. So that is also my will win pick. Though if there's going
Agreed.
to be an upset win, I think it's going to be Mank as well. Okay. Nominees for production design, we have The Father, Ma Rainey's Back Bottom, Mank, News of the World, and Tenet.
It's gonna be between Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and Mank. I feel like Mank has an upper hand in this category only because it really is the production design of the year 2020. When you say production design, everyone would basically think of Mank. But at the same time, I think Ma Rainey's Black Bottom should not be underestimated because along with the costume design, which also contributed to the entire aesthetics of the film, I think the production design of Ma Rainey is something that people would probably gravitate to in terms of voting for this film. But if I were to choose the number one pick, I'd have to say Mank as the
Okay.
will win and should
My
win probably.
my will win is also Mank. The movie did its job in encapsulating that said era, and we have a lot of beautiful designs here that is just not hindered by its black and white cinematography. So I think that's impressive. But my should win would have to be News of the World because we get a lot of sweeping wide shots here. I'm really impressed here because I watch a lot of Western films, and in some Western films, I can sense that they're only decorating certain parts that's within the screen, and in here that they made a full expansive design here. So yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
I
I'm going
agree.
for News of the World.
But also, just to add to that, I think another film that should not be underestimated is The Father. The production design of that film, it's almost like an entire character in the movie. It helped in the disorientation of Anthony Hopkins' character. And The Father is also a late bloomer in this season. It was just released
Yeah.
probably a week ago, so it might be the freshest film in the eyes of the
Yeah.
voters. So people would probably remember that the most.
That is definitely an advantage. Let's proceed now to nominees for Best Film Editing. So this one paves the way for Best Picture. We have here The Father, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Will win. I feel like it's gonna be The Trial of the Chicago 7. That film just screams editing. That's one of the elements of the film that really stands out and really resonates to people. Personally, just having seen The Father recently, I really am godsmacked with the editing of The Father. It's really top notch. When it comes to the disorientation of Anthony Hopkins in suffering dementia, the editing plays a key role in rearranging his memory, rearranging the characters that comes and go in his life. If the editing of that film isn't as great as it was, it might not work, but it was really pristine. That is probably my should win.
Wish I could say the same for The Father, but I'm yet to see it. My should win, I guess. It's no secret that I'm a big fan of The Trial of the Chicago 7. I love what they did here in the climax scenes, alternating scenes from the courtroom and to the afternoon/night of protest. I think that was excellently done. But something tells me that Sound of Metal has an upper edge. I don't know why,
I
because
mean, that is possible.
this movie really helped along with its sound editing in telling the journey of this man who's losing his earring. I think they did really great in here. It's kind of a slow burn drama, but I respected the style that the editors went for this one.
Well,
Let's
Sound
go.
of Metal also won Best Editing at the Critics' Choice, so it's definitely
Yeah.
up there. We can't count it out. It's a contender for sure.
Next, we have nominees for Best Cinematography. We have Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, News of the World, Nomadland, and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Once again, I feel like my personal win is going to be Mank. Aesthetically, it's just perfect. While I was watching Mank, I felt like a kid walking to a candy shop for the first time, and all I see is just greatness. I really am a fan of the aesthetics of Mank, but I feel like Nomadland is gonna win cinematography, and I think the work of the film cinematographer really captured the vast landscapes of the uncertainties of a nomad's life, and I think it also played a very profound role, not just on the surface, but also has a deeper meaning in terms of servicing the story. So Nomadland is gonna win.
We have the same opinion. I think Nomadland, I've only seen screenshots of this movie. I'm yet to see this one, but it's just gorgeous. Maybe it's my bias because I'm not too fond of seeing a black and white film compared to a full colored picture. So I'm going for Nomadland for will win. For my should win, again, News of the World. I love how they played the light and shadow in this one, and we get a lot of sweeping wide scale shots here. So yeah, nominees for visual effects, Love and Monsters. I haven't watched that and I did not expect that. The Midnight Sky, Mulan, The One and Only Ivan, and Tenet.
I'm not even the biggest fan of this movie, but I think will win and should win. Visual effects alone is Tenet. I think if there's one category that it really nailed, I think it's visual effects. And it has to be said, this is a should have been there. Another visual effects that is quite unsung, quite uncelebrated, surprisingly, in 2020 was The Invisible Man. I really expected that film to be like present in a lot of guilds, a lot of awards show, but it was completely shut out. The reason was probably because it was released too early, so voters probably might have forgotten about it, but it really deserved at least a nod. It's really good.
I'm glad you mentioned that because if that was on the list, that would have been my should have win. But
Same.
I guess I'm going for Tenet here. Should win and will win. I've seen Midnight Sky. There are a lot of great shots there, but there are some a bit questionable ones too. So I think I'm going to Tenet. As for Mulan, I think they did a great job in hiding the concentration camps. I don't know.
I actually haven't seen Mulan, so...
Okay. So, nominees for makeup and hairstyling. We have Emma, Hillbilly Elegy, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Mank, and Pinocchio.
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom just won the Guild for Best Makeup, so I believe it's a shoo-in to win. Personally, I would prefer probably Mank, but I'm fine if Ma Rainey's Black Bottom will end up eventually winning because I think that film pretty much relied on the physical transformation of the actors, so I think it did a great job. Another film that I think should have been there, personally, is Birds of Prey, especially since it just won the contemporary category of best makeup and hairstyling at the Guild Award. And I think contemporary makeup isn't given enough praise.
Yeah.
A contemporary makeup film is hard to compete with, say, period films. Especially looking at this list, it's all period pieces.
Yeah.
So I think a little contemporary film deserves to be there.
My should win here is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I just can't erase in my head the image of Viola Davis, her buttered makeup and her sweat. It's just look of a woman who's determined, who won't give a shit. So will win and should win will be Ma Rainey's for me. And Mank, I do appreciate the hairstyling, but again, because it's a black and white film, you can't really appreciate the makeup here. So next is nominees for Best Animated Feature Film. We had Onward, Over the Moon, A Shaun the Ship Movie, Farmageddon, Soul, Wolf Walkers.
Easy. It's gonna be Soul.
Easy.
Will win, should win, done. Next.
Yeah.
That's easy.
There's no contention in that. I would even argue Soul to be in the Best Picture if they're making 10. So let's move on. We have here nominees for Best Original Song. Okay. Fight for You from Judas and the Black Messiah, Hear My Voice from The Trial of the Chicago 7, Husavik from Eurovision Song Contest, The Story of Fire Saga, Ayo Si or Sin from The Life Ahead, and Speak Now from One Night in Miami.
Should win. I really, really love Husavik.
Yeah.
It's probably the only contender of the entire Oscar race that I really, really want to win all categories combined. I really, really am a fan of that song. It was actually a surprise that it got nominated. It was snubbed in several awards. I almost was losing hope that it will eventually get into the Oscar race, but I'm glad it did, and I hope it will win. A lot of people are rooting for that song as well, but I feel like it's going to be Speak Now, One Night in Miami. Only because it pretty much won a lot of the precursor awards, and it's a huge contender. And I won't be mad if it wins, but I just personally want Husavik to win.
My personal pick too is Husavik, just because that song has been on repeat on my Spotify ever since I watched
Same.
Eurovision. And Will Win is Speak Now from One Night in Miami. Now let's proceed with nominees for Best Adapted Screenplay. We have here Borat's subsequent movie film, The Father, Nomadland, One Night in Miami, and The White Tiger.
Will win and should win is definitely Nomadland. That film is just pure bliss. The best thing about the screenplay of that film is that it didn't try too hard. I don't see Chloe Zhao writing the screenplay of that film and thinking that it should be an Oscar contender. Like, it's not engineered to be an Oscar or award contender. It was just an artfully written screenplay, and I think that should win. The screenplay of that film is just so effortless. You could barely recognize which lines are improvised, which lines are on the script. So it was just seamless. That is my should win and will win. But just to add, should have been there. I definitely think that First Cow. I was disappointed that First Cow didn't receive that much love, especially for the screenplay category, because I think the writing of that film is just excellent. It's just so regal, and it's just a shame that it didn't get nominated.
Nomadland here is also my will win pick, just because Nomadland has been gaining momentum. We all thought that Nomadland is losing steam here, but the recent awards is still gaining momentum. So Nomadland for there, and with the naturalness of this script. But personally, I'm a guy who likes intellectual banters and all of that, so I'm going for One Night in Miami for here. I'm also pleasantly surprised that The White Tiger is here, so yeah.
So I just watched that movie a couple of days ago, and I really get why it got nominated.
Yeah.
So it's very well deserved.
Especially the source material in itself is really good, so I think that movie deserves some credit. Now moving on, let's talk about the nominees for Best Original Screenplay. We have Judas and the Black Messiah, Minari, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
There's a journey in this category. Earlier this season, everyone is really locked in seeing The Trial of the Chicago 7 as the front runner and the lock to win Best Original Screenplay. But things really shifted, and right now it's Promising Young Woman all the way, especially since it just won the Writers Guild Award for Best Original Screenplay. It's kind of like a Get Out. It's a genre film that beat a lot of the heavyweight contenders, and I think if there's one category that Promising Young Woman is a shoo-in to win, it's gonna be original screenplay. I also want to mention a film that I believe really should have been there. It's Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. That is an understated masterpiece for me. It's quite controversial. That is why it's not really gravitating to all members of the Academy, especially to traditionalists, but I really love that screenplay, and I wish it got nominated.
No love for Never, Rarely. What? Never, Rarely,
Yeah.
Sometimes, Never? Never, Rarely.
Never,
What?
Rarely, Sometimes, Always.
Okay, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. I think this is the only category that I won't be upset if any of this win.
Yeah.
Though my
I mean, Judas and the
personal...
Black Messiah also has a perfect screenplay.
Yeah, of course, I've been championing this movie ever since I've watched it, The Trial of the Chicago 7. I'm yet to see Judas, but something tells me that I'm going to like that, maybe even better. And it's really surprising what you said about Promising Young Woman gaining momentum. So my should have win is The Trial of the Chicago 7, and will win also for Aaron Sorkin here because he's just known in this category. Okay, now let's go to the highlight of the show. Let's start off first with our acting award. Nominees for Best Actress in a Supporting Role. We have Maria Bakalova from Borat's subsequent movie film, Glenn Close from Hillbilly Elegy, Olivia Colman for The Father, Amanda Seyfried for Mank, and Ya Jung-yoon for Minari. Dennis, take it away.
This is a very crazy and wild acting category, aside from lead actress, which we will talk later on. Just to preface this category, the winner of the Golden Globe, which usually gets nominated for an Oscar, is Jodie Foster for The Mauritanian, but she didn't get nominated. The winner of the Critics' Choice is Maria Bakalova, but the winner of the SAG Award is Yoo Jung-yoon. BAFTA pretty much snubbed everyone because BAFTA is rolling on its own beat right now. So it's gonna be between Yoo Jung-yoon and Maria Bakalova. Both of these films are receiving a lot of love from the Academy. A lot of people are saying that Maria Bakalova is probably like the film is probably too edgy, too mockumentary to be considered in a front runner status. But Borat is nominated for a screenplay category, so that is huge. It means that it really received a lot of respect from the industry people. But at the same time, Minari is also a huge contender. Director, picture, supporting actress, lead actor. So I'm going to choose Yoo Jung-yoon as my will win. But for my personal pick, my should win is definitely Amanda Seyfried for Mank. Biases aside, I really loved what she did in the movie. I thought she was just sensational. What I love most about that performance is that it's not an award-begging performance. Like, she didn't cry, she didn't break down, there was no confrontations whatsoever, unlike some of the nominees. But it was just a very pure, subtle, nuanced performance. And I think she really captured the essence of a 30s star in her performance. And she really took me to the 30s. And I think that's a really huge testament of that particular kind of performance.
Yeah, Amanda Seyfried deserves this nomination because she suffered a lot with the hands of David Fincher in the number of takes that they did. But, you know, objectively speaking, I don't know, this might be shocking to you, but I think Amanda Seyfried here has the least shot in winning. I don't know, that's the perception that I'm getting.
I actually agree because she's the surprise nominee. Personally, I don't think she will even get nominated, to be honest.
Anyway, I am glad that two people of color here are the front runners. I have to agree, Maria Bakalova and Yoo Jung-yoon. I won't be totally surprised if Glenn Close wins. I think this is her 10th nomination, though we would want her to win on a movie with a stronger performance, say The Wife. This is another year of match-up between Glenn Close and Olivia Colman. I think Olivia Colman won with The Favorite last year. My will win and should win. This might be a controversial choice to you. I'm going for Maria Bakalova because while watching Borat, I felt like she was the heart of the movie. Yoo Jung-yoon did a great job in her part here, but I was sure that she definitely stole the movie from Borat himself. So that is a tough job. She also suffered in this role because she got trapped with Rudy Giuliani. So it's an odd role and the Academy is being more open with different kinds of performances.
It also needs to be said that should have been there, I think Ellen Burstyn in Pieces of a Woman was really robbed, and it was very heartbreaking that she didn't get nominated because even she wants it. In many of her interviews, she's been saying that she would want to be nominated for an Oscar for Pieces of a Woman. It's gonna be like a badge of longevity for her career. Personally, this is just a personal opinion. I would prefer Ellen Burstyn over Maria Bakalova or Olivia Colman. I think she gave much stronger performance over those two for me.
That improvised dialogue.
Yes, that's
okay. Ellen Burstyn, I haven't made an official ranking, but I think I would have ranked her 6th. But it's just unfortunate that we only have 5 slots here. So let's now proceed with Best Actor in a Supporting Role. The nominees are Sacha Baron Cohen for The Trial of the Chicago 7, not in Borat, Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah, Leslie Odom Jr. for One Night in Miami, Paul Raci for Sound of Metal, and Lakeith Stanfield for Judas and the Black Messiah.
Just like animated feature where Soul is winning, this is another easy one. It's gonna be Daniel Kaluuya for Judas and the Black Messiah. Will win and should win, I think. It's just like a Laura Dern Marriage Story. It's a lock. Like, he will win all the way. He has won pretty much everything else, and he will also bag the Oscar. Probably should have been there. I would gladly replace Sacha Baron Cohen for Mark Rylance in The Trial of the Chicago 7. I personally don't think Sacha Baron Cohen was the strongest actor in terms of performance in that film. I do think he is the comic relief in The Trial of the Chicago 7, but in terms of how profound the performance is, I would rather pick anyone from Frank Langella to Mark Rylance to Yahya Abdul-Mateen over Sacha Baron Cohen. And I think Sacha only got nominated because he already has Borat. So when campaigning him, it would be easier for him to catapult in the top 5 because Borat is already up there. So that, I think, think it's just the politics of campaigning. That's why he got nominated.
Yeah, same here. Mark Rylance is my pick for Best Supporting Actor role, so I was a bit sad that he didn't place a spot here. But I'm also thinking about maybe there's a chance just because Danielle Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield are both competing on the same category. I think there's a chance here maybe the voters will split the votes and eventually will give way to another contender here. But just because of the discussion and the noise here, I think Daniel Kaluuya will have this. And I haven't seen the movie yet, but I guess I'm already a believer of Daniel Kaluuya in his performance from Get Out. Like, I think he did not get a nomination there, right?
He did, but he didn't win.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a good redemption year
100%.
for him.
And it's really well deserved. He was really strong in the movie. It's like an all-timer best performance for me.
Okay, now let's move to nominees for Best Actress in a Leading Role. We have Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Andra Day for The United States versus Billie Holiday, Vanessa Kirby for Pieces of a Woman, Frances McDormand for Nomadland, and Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. What a tough category.
Okay, let me preface by saying that first, Andra Day won the Golden Globe, Carey Mulligan won the Critics' Choice, Viola Davis won the SAG, and none of them will win the BAFTA because none of them got nominated at the BAFTA. BAFTA, it's gonna be McDormand or Kirby. So for the first time in history, in the lead actress category, it's gonna be a different winner per award precursor. And it has never happened before. It happened back in 2000, but that was in the supporting actress category, where McDormand won Critics' Choice, Kate Hudson won Golden Globe, Julie Walters won the BAFTA, and surprise, surprise, Marcia Gay Harden won the Oscars. So it's gonna be 2000 all over again, but it's the very first time in history, like literally ever, that this kind of wildness is happening in the lead actress category. But it's a nightmare for the predictors to predict. Like literally, how are you gonna predict this category? There's no way. It's literally a guesswork. But at the same time, it keeps the excitement going. A moment like this should be treasured because it's not like this every year. Every year there's a lock. There's a sure win. Not this year. It literally could be anyone. Should win is definitely Carey Mulligan for Promising Young Woman. That is the performance of the year for me. She was just iconic. She was merciless. It kind of reminded me of a Glenn Close Fatal Attraction meets Rosamund Pike Gone Girl. And it's very rare for genre films to be recognized in performances like this. I do believe that it will also be a refreshing win if she ends up winning, because if we are going to choose, say, Viola Davis for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom or Andra Day for Billie Holiday, it's gonna be a biopic all over again. Like we just had a biopic win last year when Renee Zellweger won for Judy. It's kind of tiresome. I think we need to broaden our horizon on what a great performance is, and I think genre films need to be on the forefront right now. Will win? I honestly don't know, but I'm probably going with Andra Day, only because the statistics of the Golden Globe, whoever wins the Golden Globe for Best Actress eventually wins the Oscar for Best Actress. They never went wrong for the last 20 years. The last actress who won the Golden Globe who didn't win the Oscar was Sissy Spacek in The Bedroom. That's like 2 decades ago. So they pretty much have a 2-decade, 20-year streak of accuracy. So it's quite illogical not to predict Andra Day just given those statistics. I won't be surprised if any of them wins because it's literally anyone's game.
So I've only seen 2 movies here, so I can only speak for the movies that I've seen. For my should win, my pick would be Viola Davis. I'm still having a hard time between Viola or Vanessa, but I'm eventually leaning for Viola. Whenever she's in that movie, it feels less of a stage play, you know? And I was really compelled by her character. Frontrunner, I kept hearing Carey Mulligan. I think she's getting a lot of supporters here recently, so that's what I'm going for. This actress should have been there. Rosamund Pike from I Care A Lot also deserves some recognition, though I haven't seen, again, 3 of these actresses perform. So I'm not sure of which actress should I replace. So yeah.
I also have It Should Have
That's
Been There. I forgot to mention that.
okay.
This is actually my second favorite female performance of the year. Definitely Sydney Flanagan for Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. She was just purely heartbreaking and devastating in that film. For me, it was a star-making performance. It kinda actually reminded me of Jennifer Lawrence starting out in the independent cinema, where she got rave reviews for Winter's Bone, a very small indie film. Sydney Flanagan is on the same trajectory. I would personally choose Sydney Flanagan probably over Viola Davis. Only because I feel like Viola Davis wasn't really the centerpiece in that film, even though she is a titular role. I feel like she has a stronger chance if she was probably campaigned for supporting because of the screen time she has.
I was craving for more screen time from her too. Okay, so let's now proceed to nominees for Best Actor in a Leading Role. We have Riz Ahmed from Sound of Metal, Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, Anthony Hopkins from The Father, Gary Oldman from Mank, and Steven Yeun from Minari.
Another easy one, it's gonna be Chadwick Boseman for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. He will win and he should win, but I also have another personal choice. I would really love if Anthony Hopkins wins this category. He just gave a masterclass of an acting in The Father. It was a very riveting performance. He really broke my heart when I was watching that movie. I truly believe, and it is widely considered, that it is the best performance of his career. But also, to be fair, this is such a strong category. Like, everyone, probably except Gary Oldman, that I can say. Everyone in the category except Gary Oldman is really deserving of a win. They truly gave such magnetic performances. For my Should Have Been There, I do believe and I still believe that Delroy Lindo should have been nominated over Gary Oldman, and it's crazy that he didn't get in. He really gave a strong performance.
Same here. I would say Delroy Lindo. Like, I was shocked because I knew for sure after watching that movie that he's going to earn his nomination, regardless that this movie has been released way too early. Part of me thinks that is he not nominated because his character is Republican? I don't know why, but Chadwick Boseman is my will win and should win, and I don't want people to discount that this is a posthumous nomination, and that's the reason why he's going to win. And just because while watching his performance, I really felt the life, the joy, and the sadness of this character. It was an emotional performance to me. I don't know, maybe it's a factor that he's already gone, but his monologue is just so sensational if we're talking about loud performances, because that's the track record for Best Actor. We have here Riz Ahmed, Steven Yeun gave very nuanced performances. So I think Chadwick here got this. Now let's talk about nominees for Best in Direction. Thomas Vinterberg for Another Round, David Fincher for Mank, Lee Isaac Chung for Minari, Chloe Zhao in Nomadland, and Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman.
Easy. Chloe Zhao, Nomadland. Should win, will win. Period. Should Have Been There, I definitely think, not Aaron Sorkin, but Darius Marder for Sound of Metal. I really thought that he was going to be like the underdog in the director category. I personally don't think Thomas Vinterberg particularly needed that nomination, and I don't think he really is deserving of that. I really love Another Round, but I don't really see it as a directorial achievement. It was a Mads Mikkelsen show. It's baffling that he got nominated over someone like Darius Marder.
My personal choice, I would also probably remove Thomas Vinterberg here and replace, however, with Regina King for One Night in Miami. But I'm glad that we got two female nominees here, and one of which is Asian American, so Chloe Zhao. I think that's the biggest win for Nomadland. Like, a lock win is for Best Direction. So yeah. For the final category, we have here the nominees for Best Pictures. We have 8 nominees. We have The Father, Judas and the Black Messiah, Mank, Minari, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, Sound of Metal, and The Trial of the Chicago 7. So the moment that we've been waiting for.
Will win. It's quite tricky because, well, for now, it definitely is Nomadland. But I don't think we can totally discount the Trial of the Chicago 7, although its chances of winning it reduced significantly, especially with the loss at the PGA and Aaron Sorkin's director snub. Now that it's not looking good in the original screenplay category because Promising Young Woman already has that in the bag, it really is a handicap in winning the Best Picture category. But it won the SAG Award for Best Ensemble, and a lot of the voters are also from that guild, from the SAG Awards. We can't totally disregard the Trial of the Chicago 7. It is still a contender, a long shot for now, but still up there. My personal choice, my favorite film of 2020 is really Mank. But even I can say that it's not gonna win Best Picture. Should have been there. I really truly believe that One Night in Miami, I really love that film. If the Oscars only pushed through and make the nominees into 10, they just did 8 for no reason, and it's so illogical to do that. One Night in Miami could be nominated at least.
It's quite interesting that these stage-based movies are not in this list.
Yeah.
Ma Rainey's Black Bottom and One Night in Miami. First, going with should have been there if we're doing 10 nominees. I would love to see One Night in Miami and News of the World.
I really thought that News of the World was gonna get in.
You got a reliable performance from Tom Hanks and a subject matter that's
Helena Zengo.
really subtly delivered and relevant. But for my should win, no secret in here, The Trial of the Chicago 7. I do think Judas and the Black Messiah is an underdog. Will win is Nomadland. Actually, I'm not discounting The Trial of the Chicago 7 because there are other winners in the past like Green Book and Argo who didn't get a directorial nod.
Chicago 7 is literally this year's Green Book, including the fact that many will be upset if it wins, just like Green Book. But it's still possible.
Really?
Honestly.
Mank, however, since we're talking about Best Picture, I think Mank is this year's The Irishman, having most nominations and least amount of wins.
Just like Irishman and American Hustle. Could be 0 wins, honestly.
If I'm going to pick my second, I think it might be Minari.
I won't be surprised if Minari is a top contender in Best Picture because it was really universally loved. Plus, Lee Isaac Chung is nominated as well for Best Director. I don't think he was really considered as a lock to get in. Also, Promising Young Woman, I think it's in the top 5. Those are definitely in the top 5. Judas and the Black Messiah too.
Okay, that's it for our Oscars 2021 winner predictions. How about you guys? Would love to hear from you. If you enjoyed watching this video, please hit that like button. And Dennis, thank you so much for guesting. Why don't you invite our viewers here to go over to your channel?
Hey guys, so I also do a lot of Oscar videos, reactions, predictions. I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. It's called Playbook. I also have an Instagram account where I interview many people in a virtual roundtable via IG Live. In the next couple of days, I'll be interviewing the Oscar expert and Filipino director Victor Villanueva, so that is something to look forward to. And I also have a Facebook page called Playbook. And if you're a Filipino and interested in the art of cinema or just want to find a buddy or a friend who wants to talk about movies, join the Backyard Film Society on Facebook. Just search for that and we're there. We'll welcome you.
I'm also part of that group. So guys, check out all of his social media accounts. I guarantee you that will be worth your time. Thank you so much guys for watching. Also, hit that subscribe button for weekly content. Till then, see you on the next one. Bye.
Bye.